Alright, spoiler alert, I am in the Keys and have been down here for the past couple of months. We are approaching the middle of August, so we are pretty much smack dab in the middle of summer, and it has been ridiculously hot. I'm sure many of you have seen the news reports about the water temperatures being in the mid to upper 90s. There was even a location just north of here that hit around 101 degrees, so insanity. And obviously it has been very important to have working air conditioners. And wouldn't you know it, just the other day I came down into my aft stateroom and I noticed the air conditioner was not running, and it was quite warm down here. It's the middle of the day, so it should have been running, so there must have been something wrong. Went over to the control pad, noticed it had an error, so it was shutting itself down. And I know you're probably thinking, hey Butch, didn't you just install that like a year ago, brand new? Yeah, I did. But before we get into what was going on with the air conditioner and how I fixed the issue, let's learn a little bit about marine air conditioners. I'm putting this video out now rather than waiting until you see my trip down to the Keys, since I didn't want to wait until further in the summertime to show you how to fix this issue in case something similar happens to you, so that you can take care of your own air conditioner when you need it. To just give you a brief overview, standard air conditioning units use a closed-loop system containing a refrigerant. This refrigerant starts as a gas and is condensed into a liquid. The condensing process generates a lot of heat, which is then transferred out of the system. This cooled, pressurized liquid refrigerant then moves into the evaporator coils and is phased back into a gas again, creating a cooling process as air moves across the evaporator and is blown into the air-conditioned space. Rather than using air to transfer heat out of the system as in a traditional home air conditioner, marine air conditioners use the abundant supply of seawater, aka raw water. So on a boat, you will have a seacock that will allow raw water to enter the boat and pass through a sea strainer, which filters out particulate and large debris. A raw water pump sucks the water in and pumps it into your marine air conditioning units. The raw water then passes through the condensing coil, exchanges the heat from the pressurized liquid refrigerant, and then exits the boat through a through-hull, usually above the waterline. The cooled refrigerant then moves into the evaporator coil, where your blower or air handler draws the ambient air from the room over the coils, where the refrigerant turns back to gas, causing the cooling effect. The evaporator does two things. Firstly, it cools the air passing through the coil, and two, it removes moisture from the air through the process of condensation. This of course lowers the humidity in the space, and this condensate drips down into a catch pan and then drains directly overboard or goes into the bilge or a sump to then be pumped overboard. With the water temperatures being so high right now, we are at the upper limits of these air conditioners to be able to cool efficiently. So it's very important to keep the raw water portion of these units nice and clear so that they can exchange as much heat as possible. And if you've watched my previous videos, you know that my boat has 3 Marinaire air conditioning units. I have a 16,000 BTU in the salon, 9,000 in the aft stateroom, and a 6,000 forward. Now on these Marinaires, one cool thing about them is on the 11,000 BTU units and higher, they put integrated pressure gauges on them for the low pressure side and the high pressure side of the air conditioner. So obviously 2 of my air conditioners do not have those gauges, but my 16,000 BTU unit in my salon does. So that is a good way to keep track of how well your unit is performing. So in these hotter months, you're paying attention to the high pressure side. So it's a good idea to see where that high pressure gauge is operating at a normal level for any given part of the year, how warm the water temperature is. And Marinaire has in their manual when the high pressure switch will cut out at certain temperatures. So once it reaches a certain pressure on that high pressure side, it's going to shut that unit down. So I recommend you familiarize yourself with those high pressure limitations that are listed in the Marinaire manual so that you can head off this issue at the pass rather than waiting for it to shut down on its own because of high pressure. And after my aft unit was shutting off and now I've got it back up and running again and it's working great, I checked the gauges on my 16,000 BTU unit, and I noticed that the high pressure side is getting close to its limitation. I think it says in 95-degree water, the cutoff for high pressure is somewhere around 464 psi, and we are very close to that level. So I am going to go ahead and acid treat the main salon air conditioner so that I do not wait until the unit hits high pressure and shuts itself off. So I'm going to show you how to acid treat your air conditioner. It's a very simple process. It might sound daunting, but it is a very easy thing to do, and I definitely recommend staying up on doing it regularly and having the proper equipment on board. So I'm going to show you when the air conditioner turns on how those gauges go up and where they stop on the high pressure side. Alright, so you can see that we are at the upper limit of the high pressure side, so this unit is getting close to the point that it will start cutting out because of high pressure. So we're going to go ahead and acid treat it, see if we can knock that pressure back and make it run more efficiently and not have to worry about this baby shutting down when I need it the most. The product that I've been using the most recently is called Barnacle Buster, and I'm not sponsored or anything like that. It's just a product that I use, and it's something you can pick up at West Marine or order online at like Jamestown Distributors or Defender Marine, places like that. So here's Barnacle Buster, and it comes in two types. It comes in the pre-mixed diluted version, which is this bottle, or you can get the concentrate bottle. I found the product to be quite effective. It is advertised as safe, non-toxic, and biodegradable, so that's a good thing. I know a lot of the folks out there are old school and use muriatic acid, which you have to be very careful with that because it is a very aggressive acid and you do not want to destroy your sensitive metal parts that are used in these air conditioning systems. And then of course, West Marine has their own generic product, which they just call descaling fluid, and this is the concentrate. So I will add this to a certain amount of water to get the right solution, and this will be the first time I've used the descaling fluid from West Marine, but West Marine here down in the Keys wasn't carrying Barnacle Buster, so I just got the descaling fluid, and I'm sure it's the same stuff and it will work just fine. And I left the bucket of the old solution in here from the aft air conditioner just to show you how cruddy it was, and it's kind of settled out in there right now, but you can see there was a lot of junk that came out of that air conditioner. So that was all stuff that was prohibiting or inhibiting the effective heat transfer process from the raw water out of the air conditioner, and that was what was causing my high pressure shutdown. Okay, so we are down in the engine room. Over here is where all of my water feed is to my 3 air conditioners. Obviously, the raw water comes in through here from my sea chest, goes to my circulation pump, and then it goes to this manifold here where I've got it labeled forward, mid, and aft. So that's where it goes to the air conditioners, and then that is where it exits the boat. There's 3 penetrations through the hull where the water goes out of the boat, which that's another thing to keep an eye on, is the water flow that's coming out the side of the boat. Obviously, if you start seeing the water flow decreasing significantly, then you know that you either need to clean your strainer or clear whatever blockage there might be. Every now and then you'll get some piece of debris or a barnacle or something caught in one of the fittings, and it's just as simple as busting one of those out. Otherwise, it's showing that you're getting a bunch of crud in your either your line or your air conditioner coil that needs to be cleared out. And what also happens is you get a calcium buildup in the coil of your air conditioner, and that is preventing the heat transfer, and so that's why you use acid to clear that out. And also, it will clear out any other barnacles or mussels or anything that's building up in the lines that's restricting the flow. So I have a bucket with some water. I have a circulation pump, so this is a submersible. This is pretty much an aquarium pump. Pumps like 350 gallons an hour or so it's nice and robust. That thing works quite well. And then I've got our acid here, which says to use a 1:4 ratio, so 1 part acid to 4 parts water. And so what is a good idea first is to pump just some fresh water through the air conditioner you want to acid treat, and just let that push out as much of the seawater as possible, because if you add the acid while there's still some seawater left in the system, that seawater is very basic and will neutralize the acid some. So we want the acid to be as effective as possible. And then what we'll do then is we will connect the outflow to the pump, which we're going to take, let's see here, there's the mid, which is the salon. It's right there. We're going to take this hose, which is what's feeding the air conditioner. We're going to connect it to this pump. We're going to put it in the bucket with the acid water, and then we're going to take the outflow hose and return it back to the bucket. So we're going to create a closed loop. So it's a very simple setup. The hoses are right here. I can just use the existing hoses. Just a matter of putting the acid in the bucket with the water, connecting the hose up to your pump, putting the return hose back into the bucket, and turn that pump on and let it circulate. The directions say that you can let it circulate for 4 to 8 hours or something like that, but what I found is an hour is pretty much good enough for this purpose. And also, it's hot out, so I don't want to run it for half a day. So we're just going to run it for an hour so we can get the air conditioner back on, so we can keep that cabin cool. Alright, so we're going to close off the valve that goes to the salon air conditioner. So we shut off the water going to the salon air conditioner. We're going to keep the other two open so the other two air conditioners can run and help keep the boat clear, help keep the boat cool while we do this. So now we're just going to remove this hose clamp and hose connected to the pump and put it in the bucket. So I'm just draining out some residual water in the line. We're going to put this hose right on that fitting. It's all set up for it. So I've done this before. Tighten this bad boy down. Put that in the bucket. And like I said, right now we're just going to flush some fresh water out of the air conditioner. Alright, so it's pumping some water now. Alright, so I'm going to put some more water in the bucket and then we'll add the acid and set up the closed loop circulation. Alright, we've got our fresh bucket of water. I've got it about halfway full. That's enough to make it through the lines in the air conditioner. And then we've got our bottle open. And of course, when I'm working with acid, I like to have safety first and have some safety glasses on in case there's some splashback. So, like I said, it's a 1:4 ratio, so it doesn't have to be super exact, but we'll just put in about 1/4 of this water volume. And that's also another reason not to completely fill this bucket up so you're not wasting acid. Alright, we've got the acid in there ready to go. And then we're going to take off the outflow line, put it into the bucket so we can create our closed loop circulation. Okay, so we're all ready to go. So we're going to take note of how nice and clear this water looks now before we turn on the pump. We'll get that pump circulating and you'll probably see all sorts of crud coming out of that hose. And one thing to note about the pump, I mean, you can get whatever submersible pump you pretty much want. You can get a bilge pump and just rig it up to a battery, or get one that's set up for 110 volts or whatever, and be able to plug it into the wall. There's a lot of options for submersible pumps. And then also, some folks will set up a bucket with a hole in it and a bulkhead fitting and have an external pump hooked up to it. People will get pretty fancy with their circulation systems for the purpose of acid treating their air conditioners and whatever other components they want. But I mean, it's just as simple as just having a bucket, a submersible pump, and having the hoses go from and to the bucket. And then also, if you have a split system like I used to have 2 compressors in here. You know, it's even easier to rig this up, and you can even daisy chain the units together. So you have the water flowing in, the acid water flowing into one of them, and then it comes out the exit out of that air conditioner, and then it goes straight into the next air conditioner, and then exits out of that one back into the bucket. So you can treat multiple air conditioners at the same time. But since I have self-contained systems, I'm just doing one air conditioner at a time. All right, we've got that thing flowing. We're gonna let it run for about an hour, and then I'll hook everything back up, and we'll see if the pressure dropped any on the high pressure side of the salon air conditioner, which will not only help run the air conditioner more efficiently and potentially draw down the cabin temperature even more, but it will also buy us time from not shutting down because of high pressure anytime this summer. Okay, the acid solution has been circulating for just over an hour, so it's about time to put everything back together and see how we did. The water's not too terrible in this one. I actually did acid treat this particular unit not too long before coming down to the Keys, so wasn't really expecting a whole lot coming out, but when I did the aft AC, it had a lot of crud in there, so that one definitely did a lot of work to that unit. And I was looking at the little fitting where the water comes out and goes to the air conditioner, and I don't know if you can see that, but there is a mollusk. There's a shell in there. So that would certainly restrict water flow a little bit. So I'm going to get a screwdriver in there and break that out and put it in my little Tupperware, get that cleared out. So, you know, with these air conditioning systems, there's a lot of areas that you could get obstruction. Of course, the first part down the line would be the grate under my boat that goes to my sea chest. So you want to make sure the diver cleans that out on a regular basis, or if you're the one that cleans your boat, make sure you stay up on that. And then of course the sea strainer is the next line. Sometimes you can get crud built up in the ball valve there. And then of course your sea strainer. And then every fitting down the line can create a choke point that stuff can grow in. And then of course stuff can grow in your lines to your air conditioners, and then finally the coil of your air conditioner. And then sometimes on the outflow. So you just look for all areas where stuff could be growing and clogging the line up and creating a decrease in water flow. So you just want to make sure your air conditioning units are running at their optimal performance, not only so that you can keep your boat cool, but you're not spending more in electricity than you need to. Okay, everything's back together. We've got the outflow hose connected back to the through hull, and we've got the hose connected to our feed line there. And now we can just open that valve up and we'll check the flow outside and get that air conditioner turned back on and cool the boat down. Alright, so I am down at my outflow for my air conditioner units. So I've got my aft unit, mid unit, forward unit. Got some pretty good flow going, so we were successful on clearing out those lines. And the other reason I have valves going to each air conditioner, aside from being able to shut one down when I want to do maintenance to it, is so that I can adjust the flow to each one. So if there is more flow going to one, I can close one of the valves, open the other one more, vice versa, to increase the flow to which one I want more flow to. And the other cool thing that you can do is just stick your hand in the outflow of the water when an air conditioner is running. You can tell how well it's running by how warm the water is coming out. You can tell which one's on at the time. So my aft unit right now is actually not running. That water's nice and cool. The mid unit is running now, and that is nice and toasty warm, as is the forward AC. So job well done. And just as I suspected and hoped, the high pressure side of the air conditioner has decreased. So this air conditioner is now running more efficiently and is less likely to cut off due to high pressure. And it's crazy, when I acid treated the aft AC unit, it made a massive difference in how well it was cooling the cabin. So before, I had the air temp, or the temperature setting on the control unit, up around 78, 79 during the day, and it had a hard time keeping the temperature at that level throughout the day. Now I can set it at like 75 during the day, and it has no problem keeping the temperature at 75 during the hottest part of the day, and it will even cycle off during the day. So made a huge difference just acid treating that aft unit. Not only just keeping it from shutting off due to high pressure, but just cooling the cabin so much better. And now the main salon unit, I just turned it on, and I've had it off for the last 2 hours almost, and it's already about to cycle off at 76 degrees. So it's already blowing a lot colder in here because I just acid treated that unit. So I hope this helps. Definitely set yourself up an acid treating system. It's a very simple setup. Have it on hand. Have barnacle buster or some descaling fluid from West Marine on hand, so that you can do this yourself, not have to pay somebody else to come out and do it for you. It's super simple, super effective, and you're going to save money in more ways than one. The other way you can keep tabs on how well your air conditioning is running is by using your infrared temperature gun, which everybody that has a boat should have one of these on hand, so you can keep tabs on a lot of different things, like your engines, all of the important components down there, and then your air conditioner. So you can take a temperature of where the air is returning to the air conditioner. So we're at around 78 degrees returning to the air conditioner, and then the outflow, the supply, is right around 58 to 59 degrees. So it's drawing it down by close to 20 degrees, which is pretty darn good. So once you start to see the differential between supply and return air temperature decreasing, meaning it's less of a drawdown between the two temperatures, then you're starting to see an issue with performance of the air conditioner, and you want to start looking into why. Alright, I hope that video was helpful. Like I said, I just wanted to get that out real quick, just in case you have a similar issue, that it could save your day in the middle of summer, because it is not fun when your air conditioner goes out when it's 100 freaking degrees out. So let me know in the comments below if it was helpful or not, and make sure you are subscribed and hit that bell so you don't miss the next videos, because the next ones will be about the trip coming down to the Keys from St. Petersburg. And thank you guys so much for watching my videos and giving me your continued support. It really means a lot to me and keeps me going. Look forward to getting more videos out to you. And make sure you follow me on Instagram. That is Aqua_Cultured. And then of course you can get this kick-ass apparel from my website. That is Aqua-Cultured.com. Got some great stuff on there. Check it out. I've got some new designs coming out, so make sure you stay tuned because you don't want to miss them. And I'll see you next time. And remember, if you're not floating, you're sinking. So stay afloat, my friends.